Okay. Yep. Much better. Last week I had a lot of fun almost getting canceled by Sierra. This close. This close. Thank you for that.
How?
I might let it go 2 weeks from now, but not likely, because it was a lot of fun. Literally, I've never had anybody say that to me, so I really appreciated it. You can't truly understand how much. Really, this isn't a picking on moment, I'm not making fun of them, like actually really grateful for that opportunity. Although I'm sure some of my former friends have canceled me by not returning my phone calls. So there is that. And then on that note, Ski, you talked a little bit earlier about what to say to people. Now, I'll tell you what I do say to people that I learned from somebody off stage, and I really appreciated what you shared. It landed pretty deeply with me, so thank you for putting that out there. I want to give you an opportunity to challenge yourself tonight. Those of you who have pen and paper, or if you're going to put it on your phone, that's fine. In business, we spend a lot of time talking about relationships, but we don't talk about them as relationships. When we're in sales, we're talking about them as opportunities for closing deals. When we're on the support side, we don't recognize the influence we have on internal customers, who are sometimes other departments that we're asking or answering questions for. When we're entrepreneurs, our entire life is focused on how many people can I get to agree with me and my expertise about this thing that I do and that I have to offer, independent of whether or not they're going to buy anything from me. And in most rooms, when people walk in to a networking space, they come away with this logic: networking doesn't work. Anybody ever heard that? Yeah. A few people. You're right, networking doesn't work by itself. You have to work. Net selling doesn't work in a networking space, which is what most people do. So my challenge for you in these next minute and a half is to take on this opportunity to document somewhere, whether it's on paper, if you're a pen and paper person, or if it's on your phone in a notepad. Write 3 things that you find interesting. I'll give you about 30 seconds to do that. So write down for yourself 3 things you find interesting. I promise this will be of value in another minute. More seconds. All right. Hopefully you wrote at least one thing down that you find interesting. So the next action you're going to take, pick one of those things and write down for yourself, why is this interesting to me? Do it quickly. 30 seconds. Why is this interesting to me? What is it about that I find interesting? Does it excite me? Could be the adult world that doesn't exist over in Minneapolis anymore. Could be the adult superstore somewhere on I-94. Could be the fireworks display somewhere outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee on I-24. Doesn't matter, just write down why you think that's interesting. What about it interests you? All right. Now, for some of you, you thought, gosh, well, I'm not in business. I'm not looking for business. This isn't really going to resonate with me. Or I'm not in sales, so it doesn't matter. The reality is you're always selling something. Whether you're selling your voice by determining how many people are listening to what you have to share, independent of whether you're trying to get them to buy something from you. And when I say buy, I mean exchange goods for services or something of that sort. So what you have in front of you are three things, up to three things that interest you, and at least a little bit of information about one of those things. The final action is something for you to take on and bring back in 2 weeks. And that is what I call an introduction. So, this is an introduction that you give to other people so they can introduce their community to you. Now, what's the purpose? The purpose of this is to build your community, build your network, build your credibility, none of which has to do anything necessarily with money. So how do you do that? Here's what you do. You take that interesting thing that you find interesting, and what about it you find interesting, and in the first line you say, I heard you were talking about blank, whatever the topic was that you wrote down. I'd really love for you to be introduced to, and then you write your name, and here are the reasons why. So a great example might be, I heard you like books and poetry, and specifically Neil Hilborn and Michael Lee. I'd really love for you to stop at the Camp Open Mic Bar, Camp Open Mic at the Camp Bar, because there's a high probability you're going to hear this really amazing poet perform some of that material. That person's name is Sierra. They deliver it well. It's really exciting. And at the end of it, you'll understand why they spent $17 on a poem. Now, that's a way more exciting, interesting introduction. Not that you can't do a better job yourself, Sierra, but that's a much better introduction for what's a reason to come down and hang out with you here on Monday night. Stop making it about you. Start making it about what the opportunity is. Thank you.